Welcome back to Antique Machine, the place where we explore the machines, the craftsmanship, and the forgotten techniques that built the world around us. Today, we're stepping back into the early 1900s, into a time when sawmills were the beating heart of every growing town. These old mills powered homes, barns, railroads, shipyards, shaping entire communities through raw timber and hard-earned skill. In this video, we'll watch how rough logs pulled from the water are transformed into straight, smooth boards using century-old machinery, hand-operated controls, and pure craftsmanship. Let's begin our journey into the timeless process of turning trees into lumber. Every old sawmill begins its day the same way, with a man and a log pulled straight from the water. Here at Ivan Corcom's mill, nothing is automated. The logs are floated in from the pond, just like they were a century ago. Using a long PV pole, he guides each log toward the ramp, where a simple chain winch hauls them up onto the deck. It's slow, physical work. Wet boots, cold hands, and a lifetime of knowing how wood behaves. Once inside the mill, the logs are rolled across the platform and lined up for the carriage. Every movement here is deliberate. Before the saw ever touches the wood, the men have already sized it, judged its grain, and positioned it exactly where the first cut will begin. With the log locked in place on the carriage, the real craft begins. Ivan reaches for the heavy iron lever, a control system that hasn't changed since the early 1900s. One pull engages the drive belts, leather straps wrapped around wooden pulleys. As the belts tighten, they transfer power from the main engine to the circular saw. It's a simple principle, but one that defined North American industry for a century. Rotational energy carried through friction and tension. The pulleys spin faster, and the great saw blade begins to blur, its teeth disappearing into a silver ring. At full speed, that blade can turn over 100 times per second, yet everything here is controlled by nothing more than levers, counterweights, and muscle memory. Ivan inches the carriage forward. The log meets the blade with a sound that's unmistakable, a deep, steady roar as the saw begins peeling away the first edge. Wood fibers explode into the air as the teeth shear their way down the length of the log. There's no automation to correct mistakes, no sensors, no electronics. Only the operator's hands and a century-old mechanism working together in a rhythm built from experience. The engine that powers this mill is connected to a long steel shaft running beneath the floor. That shaft, often called a line shaft, distributes power to every machine through belts that can be engaged or disengaged by hand. It was once the backbone of every sawmill, factory, and workshop before electric motors took over. As the cut continues, Ivan adjusts the alignment using another lever. This changes the position of the carriage relative to the blade, ensuring the board comes out straight and true. When the blade finally breaks through the far end, the first slab falls away, what mill workers used to call the jacket board. This cut exposes the true face of the lumber beneath. Ivan disengages the drive belt with a practiced motion, letting the blade slow back into focus. And just like that, one face of the log has been squared. Once the boards leave the main saw, they're still rough, uneven, and full of marks from the first cut. So the next stop in this old mill is the planer, a heavy, rumbling machine built decades ago, but still doing exactly what it was designed for. The operator feeds each board in by hand. Inside, a row of rotating knives shaves the surface clean, taking off only a thin layer at a time. Those knives spin at incredible speed, turning rough lumber into smooth, usable boards in just a few seconds.
Because the noise is only half.
From here, the board moves to another circular saw, this one used for trimming edges and squaring the sides. The blade is smaller than the main saw, but far more precise. It lets the sawyer remove the wavy, inconsistent edge left from the first pass, turning each board into a straight, uniform plank. By the end of this stage, the raw log has finally begun to look like lumber, straight, smooth, and ready for its next purpose. And that is the timeless journey of wood through a century-old sawmill, a place where muscle, machinery, and tradition work side by side. In a world filled with automation, places like this remind us of the craftsmanship that shaped generations before us.